From station WDWL TV, with great anticipation, we bring you the pride of the station, the grumpy old man, me, and, you can't see him, but here he is, the grumpy vulture. Take your bow. Very nice, very nice. Okay, back in your corner. Look at the camera. Greetings, friends. As you can see, things have kind of changed a bit here. Grumpy seems like he's right on top of the camera. Not to mention, I have a brand new microphone. Let me make an adjustment here. Something just driving me a bit crazy. I don't want to adjust too much. So, yesterday, I had that damn echo, and I was like, this can't be. I have used this microphone several times. Now, it does have an echo. I had it turned off. Why it was echoing at the time of the broadcast, I had no idea. So, I decide to look into it, only to discover the knob had a crack in it. And even though I was turning the echo, what I thought was off, all the way 100%, it was not turning the rheostat that adjusts the echo. So no matter how I turned it, it was like just spinning around. Evidently, it cracked when it was in the, I'll say, little echo effect. Even though I was turning the knob, it wasn't fixing the problem. So, I went into the storeroom and I brought out another microphone. Now, this is another one of those fines. It's a little mic. It's a little mic. The interesting thing is, no, I didn't do a sound check because I got involved in a couple of other things, but right now, in my headset, this mic sounds fabulous. Like I say, there's a possibility when I put the stream up, that might sound like crap. Also, I do not know what went on with my screen settings. As you can see on the side here, the edge of my backdrop, and over here, you can see one of the backdrop clips. The way I had my settings, all of that was compressed to make it look like I was in a room, not with a backdrop hanging. Now the edges are showing, the clips are showing. I'm like right on top of the camera. I don't understand what changed. I touched nothing. I didn't. Matter of fact, let me see here. Yeah, it shows this. I do not know why the settings changed. It's showing they've changed. I didn't touch them. So, hopefully, tomorrow, I'll have this mess straightened out because I wanted it to look like a studio. Now you can tell, looking at both sides, I'm cheating. Although you knew that already. But I wanted things to look somewhat professional. Oh, Grumpy, you're pushing it. And then, to make matters worse, the reason I'm late, I get all set up, and all of a sudden, my headset cuts out. I'm like, now what? So I'm messing around, only to discover that the plug is screwed up. Now it's in molded plastic. I was getting a buzz and a hum, so luckily I have backup. I always, everybody jokes, and they tell me, Grumpy, you got 47 microphones and you got half a dozen headsets. You have to. Because if I was relying on one microphone and one headset, I'd be off the air. So, yeah, maybe I go overboard. Yes, I have too many microphones. 90% of them were gifts. If I wouldn't have taken them, my buddy's son would have dumped them with goodwill. I couldn't see that. Believe me, I could not see that happening. I know, if he'd have done that, his father would have come up out of the grave and killed him. And like I told you about my buddy, he was the type that, first of all, one was never enough. And second of all, if something caught his eye, he bought it. I have 3 or 4 of those MXL microphones that never came out of the box. He was just the type of person that, first of all, he had the money. Second of all, he always was like me. You have to have backups. Well, God, he had enough backups to furnish 5 studios, believe me. I really would have liked one of the mixers that he had. I'm getting away from the XLR equipment. Now, yeah, it would have been nice to have, the one mixer he had, I know, was over $700. Luckily, his wife called one of his other friends, who called a friend, and they all got together, and all of his equipment went to good use. None of it went to goodwill. Believe me. The one guy is a member of a club, and they have a couple of websites. They do podcasts. I couldn't think of the word. And what they did was, the one club meeting, they took all of the equipment in and dispersed it among the members. So all of my buddy's equipment is going to wonderful use. And believe me, it's all appreciated, because a lot of the people in the club couldn't afford what they got. So that's one of the reasons I've got a shitload of microphones here in the studio. But luckily, I had backup equipment because, well, I could have gone on air. I got some earplug, the old style earplug. I could have gone on. To me, it's a personal thing. I feel more professional with professional equipment. And these headsets are not cheap. And to me, I just look better. Now I know Walter Cronkite, did not have headsets on when he was broadcasting. But today, if you look at all the TV anchor people, anybody in the studio, you'll see that little clear squiggly thing behind their head. Well, they've got an IFB in their ear, which basically, if something, say while they're broadcasting, the anchor's tie falls off or something. In his ear, they'll say, hey, your tie's, screwed up. And then, very nonchalantly, he'll just fix his tie, something like that. I know. I should have said his lavalier microphone was falling off, off of his lapel, but Grumpy thinks in strange ways. Yeah, his tie is going to fall off. If his tie falls off, that means he's wearing one of them cheap clip-ons. Beside the point. So that was the reason I come on late, because I had to scramble to get a headset. So, but why these settings changed with my camera, I don't know. I didn't touch any of the only settings that I touched were the audio settings to get the microphone set. I never touched camera. There is a goddamn ghost in this studio that likes to fuck with me. That's the only way. And I didn't discover it until I go live, and I'm like, holy shit. Why is the camera? It's like the camera's in my face. And then I looked and I saw the clips, and I was like, ah, jeez. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get this straightened out, because I do not know what went haywire with this camera today. It's like something wants to sabotage me. Never a dull moment. And the only other thing that we did, the lighting guy come in. I hate this camera. The lighting guy came in and kind of adjust this and kind of dulled it down a little bit, but he can't get it down anymore. And then he adjusted this one up. The only one that I get to mess with is the one over my head. Let me add another click. There we go. Now I'm really scary. I turned the brightness up, and 3 people went, holy shit, don't do that. And then, oh man, I am pissed off. I am really pissed off. For a couple of weeks now, I have had a gorgeous 8-point buck and doe living in my backyard. Now, deer show up every year. This year, this is a wild. Now, all the deer that show up are wild. But the deer that have been showing up for the last 3 years have GPS tags. And I had talked to the Department of Natural Resources, and what they did was there was this herd of deer about 40 miles out in one of the state parks. And they were able to capture them one by one and tag them for study because they wanted to see how they migrate. And the first year they showed up here, I had called and I said, gee, we got these deer that you can walk up to and pet. And the guy from the Wildlife Division said, yeah, unfortunately, the deer had migrated into the cities. And they got accustomed to people. Well, then the people got accustomed to the deer. And they were hand feeding them. Which is the worst thing you can do with wild animals. You don't feed them. Well, then it got to be the point they got so accustomed to people, you could walk up and pet them. I got pictures. One of these days, I'll dig them out of me petting one of the deer. As a matter of fact, the one morning I come out of the house and he was standing outside the door. Here's his doe. I opened the door and it wouldn't move. I'm like, I'd like to get out of my house. I've got to go to the store. And the deer was standing there 3 inches from the door. So I finally was able to ease the door open. I go to get in my truck and it's standing next to my door. I was like, Doe, can you move a little bit? Bambi? Where does she go? Right in front of my truck. I was like, okay, I'll start the motor and she'll move. No, she stood there. And I'm like, Bambi, come on, move. I had to come in the house, as much as I hated doing it, and getting an apple. And I held it under her nose, and then I tossed it in the front yard. Then she went over and ate the apple. I was able to leave. Well, this year, this pair showed up. And by talking to the Division of Wildlife, they have determined that from what I described in the pictures I sent, this doe is pregnant. And the buck has got to be her mate. And that is basically why the two of them are together constantly. Plus, she is looking for a birthing place. And she has been spending a shitload of time under this big, huge shrub I have in my backyard. And I'm thinking, oh God, would that be neat to wake up one morning and see a little fawn standing in my yard. At 8 o'clock, they were back in the backyard. Something scared them. I don't know what. Because they took off and they did not come back today. Now, fingers crossed, whatever scared them, they will get over it and they will come back. For two reasons. I think it's cool looking outside and seeing a 8-point buck standing in my backyard thinking, oh, some hunter would love you. And here you are in my backyard. Oh, I'm safe. Nobody gonna shoot my ass. And I would love for that doe to give birth back in the backyard. I just think it would be the neatest thing to wake up one morning and see a little tiny Bambi poking out from under the shrub. So my fingers are crossed. Tomorrow morning, when I look out the window, they'll be back. I hope so. God. Between bird watching and deer watching, I think I missed my calling. I should have been a wildlife ranger. And even the people from the Division of Wildlife cannot understand what it is about my backyard that these deer want to make their home. It's like any other backyard in Cleveland, but I just have a big giant shrub back there. The reason it's big and giant is I've been too goddamn lazy to cut it back. But it also makes for less grass that Grumpy has to cut. Oh. But yeah, she has been underneath that shrub. Now, I'm staying away because sometime human scent will probably, scare her off from using that. But from what I can see, she's got everything all kind of flattened down. And I really think she wants to use this as a birthing spot. But whatever scared the two of them off last night, because I'll tell you what, that buck, if he hears a noise, he jumps to his feet. Boy, and you can see the ears like, did I hear it this way? Did I hear it this way? And then when he feels comfortable, he'll lay back down. And yesterday afternoon, it was adorable. She was laying down. And after he finished munching on my shrub, he came over and he washed her face and washed her ears, and then was preening the back of her head and down her neck. I was like, I didn't know deer did that. But yeah, he was washing her face like, hey, clean up a little, sweetheart. People are watching you. And wait a minute, you got dirty ears. Oh, he spent 20 minutes washing her head and her ears and her face and preening her. But it's something I've never seen. I'm getting a look at what is out in the wild in my backyard. Yeah. Unbelievable. I'm loving it. Those of you that live in Ohio, mainly southern Ohio, you know the name Jack Hanna, because Jack Hanna is director emeritus of the Columbus Zoo, and he used to have a wildlife program. I'm turning into a Jack Hanna. I was going to say crocodile hunter, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Wrong species, Grumpy. You're not a crocodile hunter. Oh, I love Steve Irwin. Oh, God, I was so sad when I found out that he died. Oh, God. Everybody said he was crazy. All right, maybe he was. But there was a guy that was really someone that dedicated his life to animals. And they had showed some behind the scenes video where the animals loved him. There was this one big goofy bird. It looked like a big giant crane. I can't remember what they called it. And that bird would get so excited when Steve would come around. His wife and kids tried to keep the program going. But without Steve, it just was not the same. And they ended up ending production. But I'm glad that, his wife and kids, they still live on the zoo property and they take care of all the animals like Steve would. I really hate this camera angle. I'm too damn close. I'm going to have to go in and see if I can get back to the default settings somehow. I don't know why it did this. I don't like being this close to the camera. I like being back farther. And I didn't touch the camera. Camera's in the same position it was. Although, there's a possibility. I was kind of screwing around with some settings today. But not in Prism. Because I got an update from Logitech for my Logitech microphones and my Logitech cameras. And that could be what happened. The update could have changed the settings on that camera. I just thought of that. Okay. When I end the stream, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to check the camera settings in Logitech. That had to be what happened because I didn't do anything in Prism. Although my buddy sent me a video. The only problem is the guy that did the video is South African. I can't understand what he's saying all the time, and he talks too fast. I don't know how many times I had to stop the video, go back, replay it, go back, because I'm trying to finally learn how to work Prism besides this. And it's a wonderful video, but the guy does everything so fast. Like he was showing how to do some camera settings or some screen settings. He was going this screen and that screen, and then he brought a screen up over here, and then one over there, and one over there. And I'm like, one screen at a time, buddy. Yeah, he had himself in the middle, then he had himself over here, and then he had himself up over there, and then there was a screen over here and there. I saved the video to watch later on because the vein in the middle of my head was coming out. I mean, he's very informative. But he has to talk and aim it to somebody that's like a first grader, not a college student working on his master's. I mean, I watched the whole video. I'm like, oh, I'm going to finally learn how to work Prism. If I watch the video 50 times, because he just moves too fast for me. let's see, he formerly was using OBS. He said OBS and Prism are similar. So he knew what he was doing. But if you're doing a tutorial video, you have to aim it at a dummy. Not someone that's getting their doctorate from Harvard. Just saying. So I will watch the video 50 more times, and hopefully I can really get professional with Prism. Well, we ain't going to go that far. Just saying. It was a good video. But he doesn't aim it at a beginner like me. Now, I do have somebody I have to email that basically can kind of guide me some more. Grumpy needs a lot of help. Too confusing. I'm like I told you, when YouTube said I needed a streaming video program, I'm like, oh shit. So I went on Gargle and I literally typed in streaming program for dummies. And the first one that came up was Prism. I'm like, okay, download this. It's aimed at dummies. And I'm on the air. But that's about it. I can't show a video. Where the chat would be that way. Yeah, the chat would be up in the corner here, according to what this guy showed us today. So, hopefully, I can get a chat running. That seems about the easiest right now. Although, I'm gonna have to watch that section of the video 62 more times. Just saying. And then, if it wasn't bad enough, my damn headset went out. I hooked this headset up, and I'm like, shit, I can't hear anything. What the hell's Then I remembered. This headset requires an amplifier. Luckily, I have amplifiers right on the edge of the console. And they're like this. This is a headset amplifier. I have 3. Do I need 3? No. But here goes how weird Grumpy is, okay? This one, the tubes light up red, okay? Now, to anybody else, that wouldn't mean shit. So, I'm looking at headset amplifiers. And I purchased this one. These tubes light up blue. Okay? The one I am using right now, the tubes light up orange. I'm like, okay, there's one more color, green. I found one. Except, now, this amplifier was $29. Reasonable. This amplifier that I got from Rockville was 35. Now Rockville, they carry dynamite products. I'm looking at some more. Plus, I'm trying to get back into the tube stuff. I grew up with tubes. To me, tube amplification is a lot clearer. So I bought this one from Rockville, okay? This is the one with the red tubes. The amplifier I'm using with this headset, with the orange tubes, was $32. The amplifier with the green tubes, $105. I was like, holy shit. So I emailed the outfit that is selling these amplifiers. And I said, I asked them, I said, can you explain something? I said, I bought 3 amplifiers. One with red tubes, one with orange tubes, and one with blue tubes. And they were all under $40. Why is your amplifier with green tubes over $100? Because these amplifiers are all the same. They're just amplifying a headset. We're not talking to the International Space Station. The response: green tubes are the hardest vacuum tube to manufacture because it takes a special gas inside to turn them green. I don't know if this is a scarce gas or what. So that's why the green tube amplifier is that expensive. Now, Grumpy likes his green. I'm not spending $100 just to see some green tubes on an amplifier I'm not using every day. So unfortunately, but I need to do some tube research because there might be a possibility that I can just buy the green tubes. And those tubes will work in one of my 3 amplifiers. Because I did find a website that sells vacuum tubes. Now I have the numbers. I'm going to check and see how much the green tubes are. And is there a crossover guide where I can use these green tubes in one of my 3 amplifiers? That way, I don't have to spend $100 and some bucks. A method to my madness, which can be cured, probably with medication. No, just don't take that serious. But I want some green tubes. But I don't want to blow up one of my amplifiers. So I am going to email this outfit and I'm going to say, amplifier A takes this number, amplifier B takes this number, amplifier C takes this number. Do we have a cross between one of these three amplifiers where I can use green tubes? And the guy at the other end will go, oh shit, we got Grumpy on the line. And the guy will say, Grumpy who? Some idiot in Ohio that wants green tubes. Oh. I like green. Sorry. I've liked green since I was a little kid. And my Japanese mini truck has green on it. I only got one email today notifying me that he has gotten an inquiry from another person. Now, whether he really got an inquiry, we don't know. He could be poking me with that stick, you know. Come on, Grumpy. He sat there in his office going, oh, wait a minute. If I tell him somebody is inquiring, he'll snap that truck right up. Well, I would. But I don't have $4,000. If I had $4,000, the truck would be in shipment right now. It would be rolling down the freeway, headed this way. But unfortunately, Grumpy don't have $4,000. But I could imagine the look on my neighbors' faces when a 53-foot semi pulled up on the street and then opened the back of the car carrier and he drives out this little Japanese mini truck. First of all, the neighbors would say, hey, asshole, you got to block the whole neighborhood with your truck? And then they'd come over to me and go, hey, asshole, did you have to buy a Japanese mini truck? Yes, I had to buy a Japanese mini truck. And I know my neighbor on the other side would say, you probably won't fit in it. It's built for Japanese people. I don't care if I have to bend over to drive it. I want that mini truck. No, that's the only thing that's big on it. It's the cab. Everything else is tiny. The bed, the wheels. It's like a Tonka toy. Two-tone green and white Tonka toy. With Grumpy's name on it. If I had that truck, I would take it to a sign shop. And I would tell the guy, I want a decal for the door. WDWL TV, home of the Grumpy Old Man. And that way, when I drive through the neighborhood, people would go, oh, that's the Grumpy Old Man? The next time that truck comes by, throw rocks at him. Okay. God, these neighbors should have been around in my CB days. When I'd be on my CB bleeding through everybody's television set. Yeah. I was cranking a tad of illegal power back in the day. And if I keyed up the mic at night, it would come through people's neighborhood TVs. Luckily, they didn't know where it was coming from. Although it was a little hard to hide the giant antenna off my house. I just told everybody it was a fancy TV antenna. That was the days before cable. You had to put antennas on the roof. And I told my neighbor, I said, oh, I can bring in stations from Omaha. And then they were like, can we come over and watch? No. The stations from Omaha were CB stations. Oh, yeah. On a Sunday morning, if the airwaves were just right, I could sit here in Ohio and talk to people in Texas, Nebraska, Washington State, because the airwave, the signal would skip. They called it skip talking. Because there weren't a lot of air, the air wasn't all confuculated. So your signal would bounce. And it was neat, but you could only do it on Sunday morning. I don't know why. Maybe because, everybody with a two-way radio wasn't talking. Construction workers, police department, well, the police, but during the week when, all the working people were on their two-way radios. Sunday morning was kind of quiet. And I would get on and talk across the nation. And then CB went the way of the dinosaurs. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I used to talk to more people on my way to work and way home. It was like a big giant family. Every CBer talked to another one, and you'd get traffic reports. I'm heading east. What's traffic like? Because people were coming west, and vice versa. I'd tell them what they were running into and talk to truckers and not no more. Very rarely. Now, there are still a few hanger-oners. Every now and then, I'll hear somebody yakking away, but not like what it was used to. No. I miss the days of CB radios. I always wonder, did the craze back in the 70s and 80s when CB was really popular, did the craze hit across the pond or no? My across the ponders, did you guys have CB radios? Or weren't they allowed in the country? I know some areas they were banned. I just wonder, was citizen band radio just limited to like the United States? Because I don't even know. I never talked to anybody in Canada. But back in the day when CB was going crazy, I wonder, did you have CBs over there in London? I've never heard whether, even watching old movies and stuff that were made across the pond, you never saw a CB radio in a truck or a car. I know everybody right now that's across the pond going, what the fuck is a CB radio? Grumpy. You're losing it. I'm just wondering, did you have CB radios across the pond? And And if you did, were they as popular there as they were here? God, for a while, you could order them factory installed in your car. I know I had a Cadillac Eldorado that had one right from the factory. GM got into Ford, didn't. I don't ever remember being able to order a Ford with a CB radio. But General Motors, oh God, yeah. Matter of fact, the radio was an AM/FM cassette with a CB in it. And the mic plugged in under the dash. And you could control what station you wanted, what channel you wanted to talk to with a knob on your radio. Yeah. GM got into it big. I don't know if Ford, I'm going to have to check. I'm going to have to gargle it. Could you get a CB radio built in from the factory at Ford? I know my Eldorado was cool with a CB built into it. And then, when cell phones first came out, I not only had an AM/FM cassette CB radio in my Eldorado, I had a phone in my Eldorado. Everybody was like, oh, Grumpy's cool. He's got a phone in his car. And then everybody had phones in their car, and then now, iPhone 463. I was thinking. Now, I've never owned an iPhone. So any of you out there that own an iPhone, I don't notice any difference between an iPhone 14 or 15 or 16. They say, oh, it's got a better camera. How much better can the cameras get? I think they've kind of pushed as far as they can go with a camera. To me, I don't see what the big deal is. Now I got a friend. Every time a new iPhone comes out, he's got to have it. Now I haven't talked to him since he got his iPhone 16 Pro Max, whatever. But I know when he went from his 14 to his 15, I didn't see a big difference. He took a picture with his 14 and then took a picture with his 15. I was like, what? I don't see no difference. But he was like, oh, look. They're too damn expensive for me. I stick with my Android. My Motorola. Multi-camera. Look at the lenses. Oh, look at that. I don't know how to work them all. I've had this phone 2 years. Don't know how to work them all. But I got 4 cameras and a little light. And then right there, my fingerprint reader. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't have to punch in no code. I just stick my finger right there and the phone turns on. Oh. Yeah, my Motorola Moto G stylus. With my buddy's picture when he was a kitten. Yeah, when he was all cute. Now he's a 22-pound fatso. But yeah, that's when he was a kitten. I keep him on my screen. Everybody thinks Grumpy, oh, you're so soft and cuddly. Oh, they don't know Grumpy. But yeah, I like to keep my buddy's picture. Reminds me of when he was this little itty-bitty, cutie little kitten. And now he's a big 22-pound brrr. Let's see. I know I got a picture of him somewhere. Somewhere. Come on. Cat pictures. Come on. We got fatso pictures in here somewhere, I know. Oh, he don't look so fat in that picture. Let me find a real fat picture. Oh, he probably can hear me right now. He's going, oh, man, he's calling me fat. Well, he is. A little chunky there. Yeah, he likes to sleep on his back all the time. He thinks he's human. And then, at night he gets in bed, okay? And he's got to be on my right side. And then he's like this, you know. And if I move, he moves. And then I'll try to turn over, and I'm like, oh, then I'll move again. Then he moves again. And next thing you know, he's got me falling off the edge of the bed. I'm like, come on. I know, I could tell him to move. He's my buddy. But I gotta adjust this. I hate this screen. Now, I don't know. I won't know what I'm looking at until I run this on the playback tonight when I get all nice and cozy in bed. I hate being this close to the camera. I don't know what, like I say, I think it was the update from Logitech. It has to be, because I did not change my settings in Prism. Now, I opened this up tonight, and I was like, oh, geez, always before airtime. I know I should have come in early, and I like to prep at the last minute. And then this is the shit that happens. I like when I'm sitting back a little more. When the microphone is like, see, like this. Not like this. See, this bothers me. This. Where you can see the clips, and then here you can see the edge of the backdrop. I got to get it fixed for tomorrow. I'll let you in on a secret. I got a new backdrop for tomorrow. Yeah, it came today. I can't remember what this one is. I guess I'll find out when I open it up and hang it up. But yeah, I got a new backdrop. So tomorrow it will look like we're somewhere else. What is this one? And it don't tell me either. Oh, I know which one this one. Oh, this one's going to be cool. I just remembered what this one is. Yeah, this is a cool one. I can't wait to get that one hung up. But I got to get this camera adjusted first. I don't want the side showing. But yeah, that one's cool. I just remembered. I have 2 more coming. Like I needed 2 more. I've got 17 backgrounds. That makes 18. And the 2 more will make 20. But when they go on sale, I can't pass them up. See, these backgrounds sell for anywhere between $10 and $20. When they run a clearance and they want to get rid of them, they're $3 and $4. I don't mind spending $4 for a $20 background. All of the backgrounds that I bought were not over $4.75. Most of them were priced full retail around $18 to $25. So, with Grumpy being, what's the word? Cheap. $4 works for me. Yeah, this one, matter of fact, this one here, $3.75 on closeout. Because they want to get rid of them. That's when I buy them. The 2 that are coming tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, one of them was $2.90. I couldn't pass it up like I needed it. But like I told you, I got that photography studio unit, which is 2 tripods and a crossbeam. But I can take all of my backgrounds and mount them. And that way, if I want to change a background, I just flip it over. Where right now, I've got about 12 clips that hold this up. It's a pain in the ass to change. When I get that other thing set up, just flip it over. And that way I got a new backdrop. And if I don't like that one, flip it over. But this one is cool. I can't wait to put this one up. It'll be worth doing all the clips on the side. It is. It's a pain in the ass to change. So once I get that other thing set up, it'll be different. Like all of you care. You're like, hey, Grumpy, who cares what the backdrop is? To me, it gives a little more professional look. And I'll tell you what, watching some of these content creator videos, when they're talking from their living room, and the floor hasn't been vacuumed in a coon's age, and instead of a drape over the window, they've got a bedspread or a sheet, broken down bookcase. I'm like, people, do you ever watch your own videos and see what your house looks like? One guy, I think he's broadcasting from a shed. He hasn't finished the drywall. You know, he's got the drywall up and the seam sealed, and that's it. You got drywall with seam sealer, and then he's got a light fixture hanging over the top of him on a couple of chains. I'm like, Oh, man, do you bother to look at your videos after you make them? Of course, then I go the opposite end of the spectrum, you know. Or these people that do a stream from their car. Now, I know all these newer cars have Wi-Fi hotspots, and they probably can't get decent Wi-Fi. But if you're going to do a stream from your car, get something you can mount your cell phone on instead of trying to hold it still. God, I watched one the other day. The guy couldn't hold a cell phone. I'm like, is that your cell phone, or are you having an earthquake where you're at? And then these people that don't know the difference between, vertical and horizontal, I'm sitting there looking and going, landscape mode. No. They're broadcasting about like this. It's obvious. People do not proof their videos. They make a video, they throw it up on TikTok or Instant Graham Cracker or YouTube or Faceplant, and they don't bother to watch it. I want to look somewhat professional. Somewhat. And maybe once I learn how to use Prism, I'll get really good. That's why I like my backdrops. I would rather look at this than a bedspread substituting for curtains and a broken bookshelf and carpeting that hasn't been vacuumed in a year. Oh, there was one. Oh, God. The guy was in a recliner. And it was a cloth recliner, okay? And you could tell that his cat slept on the back of the recliner by the 30 years of cat hair on the back of the recliner. I'm like, first of all, you sit in that every day? And second of all, do you bother to watch your videos and see how... it was disgusting. There was more hair on the back of his recliner than there was on his cat, probably. Although the cat did make a cameo once. It jumped up on the back of the chair and he swatted at it. Get off there. Well, you don't swat at your cat when it's sleeping there, because I can tell by that much cat hair on the back of your recliner. Yeah, I got a neighbor that watches. He's probably watching right now. Hi, neighbor. And he asked me, what's with the backgrounds? What do you mean, what's with the backgrounds? I want this to look appealing to a subscriber. And he was like, people subscribe to you? I said, yes. I have 70 people. Well, at that time I had 62, I think. And he's like, why would they do that? I said, why do you watch? And he was honest with his response. And you know what his response was? Because I'd like to see you make an ass out of yourself every night. If he wasn't my neighbor, I would have hit him with my snow shovel. Matter of fact, I still might. If he's out shoveling snow tomorrow, I might go across the street and whack. He'll go, what the hell's that for? Just because. And he'll say, because what? Because I wanted to hit you with my snow shovel. I don't know what everybody's opinion is. I want to look somewhat professional. Plus, I like the look of the background. It's kind of neat. You know, a nice couch, nice sitting chair there, a plant on the coffee table, a flat screen TV, a window. You know, looks realistic, except for the corners here. Oh, man, I got to work on this camera tonight. The more I look at that, the more it pisses me off. I know everybody knows it's a backdrop, but it looks so cheap and unprofessional with the edges showing and the clips. And I apologize, people. I'm really upset about this. Of course, if I would start a little earlier, I would have noticed that and probably had some time to work on changing it, but I wait till the last minute. And then tonight, the headphones got to go out, and make it worse. So I have some computer work to do tomorrow and figure out what the hell went haywire here. But in the meantime, I get good dinner tonight. Oh, yeah. I got some Slovenian sausage. Yeah. Oh, they look delicious. And I got some nice fresh ones. So I'm going to have me a nice Slovenian sausage sandwich tonight. 2. I'd go 3, but they're pretty plump. They're pretty good size. Yeah, they were on sale. I'm walking through the aisle. Wait a minute. Slovenian sausage? I haven't seen them on sale in ages. I'll take a pack. I think there was like 12 or 14 in the pack. And they were cheap. I should have checked the sell-by date. I'll probably get toxic poisoning from old food. No. The grocery store wouldn't do that to me. But yeah, God, I haven't had Slovenian sausage in ages. Mainly because the damn mom and pop sausage shop closed up. That's the problem. See, we can't keep little mom and pop shops going in this day and age because the big markets, they undercut prices and all that, and it's hard for a little standalone business to keep going. But what people don't realize is, idiots like me still enjoy the ethnic foods I grew up on. Because, see, my grandfather was Hungarian and my grandmother was Slovenian. So I eat what I figured the best of both worlds. And I miss that. So when I spotted the Slovenian sausage, I was like, oh boy. I just hope it tastes like I remember it. Almost like the Limburger cheese. One day, I told you, one day, I will make a Limburger cheese sandwich and eat it on air. And I will let you know if it tastes like what I remember from my childhood with Grandpa. And my grandmother getting pissed off. Oh, she hated the smell. She had the fastest apron on earth, I'll tell you what. Trying to fan the stink out of her kitchen. And me and Grandpa just sat back and laughed. And she wanted to bean us, I'll tell you what. If she could have hit me and Grandpa with a broom, I think she would have. Okay, time for the outro. I don't know why she keeps saying that. We know where. WDWL TV. Somewhere around 7 o'clock. One day, there will be no technical difficulties and I will start on time. I promise. But in the meantime, friends, thank you for watching tonight. And we will meet again right here tomorrow night. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your evening. And thanks again for tuning in.